Are you constantly checking your phone, or do you often catch yourself mindlessly scrolling? It does not have to be this way. Your phone shouldn't control your life. Without wasting any more time, let's dive into how I set up my phone. This is my minimalist phone setup. In this video, I'll show you how I set up my phone for intentional use, and I also include some tutorials at the end. On the first page, I have a calendar widget. As a fan of time blocking, it is one of the most important things for my productivity. On the second page, I have some custom widgets at the top to provide useful information. I have a medium-sized widget showing my favorite Notion pages, like my second brain page. Below these are small widgets for my main Notion use cases, notes, and tasks. The third page of my home screen provides quick access to other frequently used pages, primarily for my personal life as I do most of my work on my computer. This includes my reading list, my movie list, my training schedule, and so on. If you're curious how I set up my Notion pages, you can check out my Notion templates. Next, I want to talk more about the apps on my dock. The first app being Notion. If you follow my channel, you probably already guessed that. So I mainly use the mobile app to capture new information, and I can click on the bottom right icon to create a new empty page, where I can jot down the new information like a new task. Then I'll move this page to the database it belongs to by tapping on Private, then searching for or selecting the respective database. In this case would be my task database. From here, I can fill in the relevant properties like the date I want to work on this task. I can also use one of my page templates below to quickly update the status to next action and also give this page an icon. Next up, we have an app called Arc Search. This is my default browser. We can click on the plus icon to search for something, and let's say I want to learn more about time blocking. I can then hit on Browse for me, and it will read all these pages for you and give you a summary of what you're looking for. The next app on my dock is ChatGPT, which I believe most of you already know what it is and what you can use it for. So that's that. The last app on my dock is Endel, one of my favorites. It's a slick and functional app that offers various soundscapes for focus, relaxation, and even sleeping. One of my favorite features would be the focus timer. This allows you to set focus and break times as well as the number of rounds you want to repeat. So if you follow the Pomodoro method, you could set it for 25 minutes of focus, 5 minutes of break, and then do it for 4 rounds before a longer break. So that sums up my dock apps. Some of you might be wondering now why my app icons and widgets don't have names. This is because I've updated to iOS 18, which has a new feature that enlarges icons and widgets, and in doing so, they hide the names of these apps and widgets. To enable this, simply hold down on your home screen, tap on the button in the top left corner, and then select Customize. From there, you can choose between small and large. If you have not noticed, I'm actually on grayscale mode right now. If I were to open up TikTok, you should be able to see it more clearly. I keep my phone in grayscale mode by default and use the action button on iPhone 15 to toggle it on and off as needed. This primarily helps curb my tendency to slip into social media use. It makes on-screen content less appealing, and having to deliberately turn off the filter to scroll through social media makes me more aware of what I'm doing. Instead of the action button, you can also set up the back tap feature to toggle the grayscale filter on and off, which I will go into the details in the later part of this video. Now let's get into the tutorials and how I do certain things, starting with how I set up my lock screen. To get started, hold down the lock screen and click Customize. Here, you can add widgets to your lock screen. You can click on the minus icon to remove a widget and add new ones. Go to one of my apps and choose a widget to add onto my lock screen. The wallpaper I'm using is a free one, which I will link below. I also have a dark mode variation. This allows you to choose a less glaring wallpaper for night. In iOS 18, there's a new feature that allows you to replace the default flashlight and camera controls at the bottom of your lock screen. You can tap the minus icon and select a new control, such as the Open App feature, which you can use to quickly access your daily go-to app like Notion. So moving on, many people have asked me how my dock appears invisible on my home screen. So going back to our lock screen, we can hold down and click on Customize, and then click on your home screen. By default, your home screen is set to your lock screen wallpaper. So from here, we can actually choose a color option beside it, which gives you a color picker, and we can adjust the color until the widget blends in with the color of the home screen. So now we'll go to our home screen. This widget displays pages that you have added to favorites in Notion, but for me, it functions more like pinning important pages to the top. This way, I always know what I'm currently working on. Currently, I have my notes and research page at the top, which contains the note I'm using for filming this video. So if you open up Notion, you can click on the 3 dots in the top right corner, and then click on Add to Favorites. After a short while, the widget should refresh and update to show this page that you have added to favorite. Next, I'll show you how to add these Notion widgets to your home screen. So first, hold down anywhere on your home screen, click on the option that appears in the top left corner, and then click on Add Widget. Search for Notion, and look for the small widget, that's the one we want. Clicking on it will add the widget to your home screen. And tapping the widget allows you to choose which page you want to open in Notion. As an example, I will use my highlights page, which tracks my favorite book quotes and highlights. So a tip here is if you have pages of the same category or related topics, you can actually stack the widgets together. This allows you to swipe between these pages for quick access. So you can actually see that I have a duplicate now for the highlights page, so you can actually drag out a widget from a stack and remove it if you no longer need it. And if you want to change an existing widgets page, you can hold down on the specific widget, tap Edit Widget, and then select the respective Notion workspace and the page you want to open. So that's how I have set up my Notion widgets on my home screen. Next, we'll look at how I installed these minimal custom widgets. This is done using an app called Widgy, which you can find on the App Store. And let me turn off the grayscale so you can recognize this app better. Opening up the app, you can see that I already have some imported widgets. So this is actually part of a widget pack that I've created with my friend Loki. So do check out the link below if you are interested. So next, we can go to the Manage tab to assign an imported widget to a slot. You can also head over to the Explore tab to find a widget from the community that you like. To assign a widget to a slot, simply click on the empty slot and select one of your imported widgets or a widget that you found from the Explore page. After that, return to your home screen, hold down your home screen, and then click on the edit icon on the top left corner and look for the Widgy app. And click on it. This will show you the widgets that you have assigned to each slot, and clicking on the widget will add it to your home screen. So moving on, let's learn how to install custom icons like my dog apps. So first, we need the Shortcuts app. If you have deleted or removed this app, you can easily find it again on the App Store. So opening this app up, we can find a plus icon on the top right corner. We can click on it and choose the action Open App, and then search for the app that we want to open. Then we'll rename this shortcut to the app name, and then click on the info icon at the bottom and choose the image option. You can either pick an custom icon from your Photos app or the Files app, whichever you have downloaded your custom icon. So after choosing your custom icon, simply click on Add and you'll be taken to your home screen where you can see the custom icon you have just added. And clicking on this custom icon will open up the app that you have chosen. So as you can see, I've hit the limit on my Threads app, so this reminds me that I want to talk about my approach to my screen time limits.
So I used to use Opal, a more restrictive screen time apps that prevents access to social media during set times or schedules, unlike Apple Screen Time Limit, where you can easily click Ignore Limit to bypass it. Opal helps to remove this easy bypass. And the reason is that I realize if I overly restrict myself, I tend to develop cravings to check my social media, and when my restrictive schedule ends, I end up spending more time on social media after work. So I'm now practicing more intentionality and discipline when opening the apps on my phone and making a conscious decision each time to step back. So I've set a 20-minute daily limit on my social media, not to overly restrict myself, but to be aware of how much time I'm spending on this platform. 20 minutes is sort of like a checkpoint so that I know that I have already spent this amount of time on social media. If you have any other strategies on reducing screen time, feel free to share them in the comments below.
So lastly, I want to end off by sharing more tips and tricks to make using your phone more intentional. So it's probably a cliche by now and most people already know this, but turning off notifications for your apps is the #1 thing I will recommend. So going into settings and then notifications, you will see I have notifications turned off for most of my apps. To turn off notifications for a particular app, simply go to the respective app in settings and toggle off allow notifications. For slightly important notifications, you can actually use the schedule summary option, and this allows you to check notifications at your own set time without being bothered by the pings and dings when you're trying to focus. So next, I recommend having a shortcut to easily go into grayscale mode. To turn on the grayscale filter on your phone, go to accessibility and then display and text size and scroll down to color filters. Make sure it's turned on and select the grayscale option. To make it easier to toggle, go back to the accessibility page, scroll down to the accessibility shortcut, and choose color filters. Now you can triple click the power button to easily turn on and off grayscale mode. Another method is the back tab feature which I mentioned earlier. So returning to the accessibility page, we can click on touch and then scroll down to find back tab. And here choose the double tap option and select color filters. Now double tapping the back of your phone should toggle grayscale mode. It might not work sometimes or it's easy to trigger it by accident, which is why I prefer the triple click of the power button or using the action button if your phone has one.
So the next few tips might be a little bit extreme for some people, so you can decide for yourself whether you want to implement them on your phones.
Search for raise to wake, and you can do this for the other tips mentioned earlier. So once we go to the settings for raise to wake, you can see that there's a toggle to turn it off and mine is already off. So with this feature turned on, your phone screen light up immediately when you raise it. So whether you are taking it out from your pocket or you picking it out from your table, your screen will light up immediately. So turning it off can help prevent unintentional use of your phone, whether you're just feeling bored or that your phone is just on your desk and you just had the tendency to pick it up. So I've actually also turned off tap to wake, which means I can't tap anywhere on the screen to wake up my phone. So the only way to wake up my phone now is by pressing the power button. If you go back to settings and search for tap to wake, you will see there's a toggle to turn it off. And these are the additional functions that you can add to make your phone pickups more deliberate and intentional.
So the last tip that I wanted to share today is actually a new iOS 18 feature that I discovered while filming this video. I thought it was actually pretty relevant to what we are talking about today, so you might want to check that out when iOS 18 is out for everyone.
So you know how accessing social media or distracting apps can still be relatively easy even if they are not on our home screen? They're usually just a few swipes away in the app library. So in iOS 18, there's a new option where you can hold down on any app, tap Require Face ID, and then select Hide and Require Face ID. This hides the app from the main app library, and you will need to go to the Hidden section to unlock it using your Face ID to access it. You can then repeat this for any of your other social media or distracting apps. So I'm realizing now that it also says it removes notifications from these apps. So for me, that's not an issue, but it's something to keep in mind. So if you were to try to search for a hidden app, it actually no longer appears in your search results. So the only way to access these apps now is through the hidden section of the app library. I think this feature could be a great way to add some friction if you don't want to completely remove these apps from your phone.
I hope you found this video helpful, and one more thing, I'm putting together a guide that compiles all these actionable tips and features that we have covered today. So the aim is to help you use your phone more intentionally, transforming it from a distraction into a tool that actually supports you. So you will find a link to this guide in the video description below, though if you are super early, you might be on the waitlist for now. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.